Hi everybody, and I will say again, because I did my live stream earlier today, but I noticed little Missy Moo, Amaya, wanting to come on out, so I thought, okay, you can come on out. And Amaya is a tricolour albino Darwin carpet python. Yeah, the funny thing about Amaya is when I go to get her out, she always looks like she's going to eat me. And that's no joke. She spins around and she gives me, well, my hand, the most evilest of looks. And yet, she never strikes at me. Do you? You're all show. And that's about it, isn't it? So, today, I want to continue on with the series, although I'm probably getting very close to the end. So this will be part 12 and part 13 actually, and I won't end on a part 13. I'll have to do a part 14 pretty much, but yeah, I'm getting pretty close to the end of what I would consider to be the basic care of your carpet pythons, carpet cleaners. Wow, it's getting later in the day and I'm getting more tired and thinking about I need to vacuum and mop my floors and stuff, but anyway, yeah, sometimes I wonder about myself. But today I want to talk about, well, yeah, your snakes as little ones and the shedding for them, because you will notice, well, I guess if you've never had a snake before in your life, a young one or an older one, you wouldn't know, but as younger ones, they're growing much faster than your older snakes are. So with that, they shed much faster than your older snakes. And it seems at times that you just shed. But, and in reality, they have, in a way. You know, a lot of babies will shed every 8 weeks, 6 weeks. But they start going into their shed cycle, say on the 6th week. Some it only takes them a week, some it takes a week and a half, sometimes even 2 weeks to go through the complete stage of getting themselves ready to shed. So then they shed, and you have roughly a month where they're eating again and growing again, and before you know it, they're back in the shed cycle. And this continues for a good couple of years of their life. They can pretty much be in that cycle with their shedding. So it seems to be never ending, and hence why, you know, I say it's why it's good to have more than one snake. It's good to have more than 2 or 3 snakes. I remember when I only had 3 and they all seemed to synchronize going into shed together. And I think now I've got to get 4. Not really, but you know what I mean. I'd have 3 of them all just preparing to shed, and even though there is no major harm in handling your snakes when they're in shed, of course. A lot don't like it and would prefer you to leave them alone. And remember, their eyes will change and they develop, a covering over their eye that they will shed with them. And at the time that is there, they have virtually no eyesight. So they're even a little bit more wary of what's going on and what's happening. Because once they get older, they know it's you. Even at this age, they know it's you because they know your smell. Not just your sight, but they know your smell. So they know you as that human in their life, and it shouldn't bother them too much. But I do say, just my opinion on it is, why not leave them alone? Leave them be. If you don't need to get them out and handle them, let them rest and get ready to go through that shedding process. They are developing oils and moisture between the layer of their new skin underneath and the outer skin, which is old, and they need to be able to do this. So of course that means being on top of the humidity and making that good in their enclosures for them. Plenty of fresh water. So even though you really should be changing the water every day, make sure that you're doing it every day when they're in shed. Some even like to soak in a water bowl. So if you've got a little one that likes to get themselves in a water bowl, make sure that water bowl is big enough for them to get in, but also make sure it's big enough for them to get out. Now, not all snakes are water snakes, what I call water babies, and you will see that with your being a carpet python right from the word go. If they're that way inclined, they will start very young hopping into their water bowl and quite enjoying it. A lot don't and never do it. So don't be worried if yours doesn't soak in a water bowl or doesn't really particularly like water. Not all of them do. But hey, if, for example, and you won't know first yet, process that they go through, that all was good and all was fine, and they have a shed and it doesn't all come off. That just gives you an idea of maybe the humidity wasn't enough and it was too dry in their enclosure. Maybe they're just a little bit of a lazy snake too, because we get those ones as well. But more often than not, it'll be about the environment and not necessarily the snake. And should that happen, then you can certainly get a tub, fill it with enough water to cover them, but also enough that they can still keep their heads out. And what I suggest you do is grab a little hand towel or something and put it in that water for them to be able to have some grip onto while they're in there. You don't want them to tire out swimming and just not being able to swim any longer, and they will drown as well. So you may need to soak them. You can also, as I've mentioned many times, use vitamin E oil to rub on them to moisten up that dry skin on them. Of course, if the shed comes off, but not the eye cap, which is sometimes a bit of a problem for them, and you've got stuck eye caps, the vitamin E oil is quite safe for you to put around their eyes and on their eye. And you will, I can very gently use my fingertip, not my nail, to gently rub it off, but you can use a cotton tip to very gently rub it off and get it off. And it's important to get those eye caps off, otherwise it will stay there, and then the next shed they may actually take off that one eye cap, but the old one that was stuck there will stay there, and sometimes a second eye cap stays there and a third, and they can get an infection in their eye. Also very important to make sure that their tail comes off, because if it doesn't, that skin will shrink and tighten, and it will cut off the circulation to their tail, and snakes have actually lost their tails because of that. So the eye caps and the tail are very important to make sure that they've come off. Soak them if you see that you will know. You will see them struggling to get their skin off, and you may have to give them a soak. And how it will begin is they take the lower of their jaw off first, and then they move onto their upper. That is kind of the process of how it all starts. But if you see them struggling and they're just not getting it off, get some moisture onto them straight away. You can of course buy products that you can spray on them, and even though I use vitamin E oil more than I use anything, I'll show you a product. Excuse me for a minute. Now I've bought this one, which is from Vita Farm, Herpa Shed. It has aloe and all those sorts of things in this particular liquid. But why have I bought that? I've bought it for Sia. She has not shed. She needs some moisture on her skin, and hence why I got it. And I spray her down with that every day at the moment, to see if that will help her. I'm putting her through enough stuff at the moment. If you've watched my previous video, then sticking her in a tub of water at the moment. So I'm just spraying her down with that to see if that will start her going into shed. Being unwell, I'm sure every bit of hydration she gets at the moment is going into her keeping herself well and not shedding her skin. So just a few things about shedding, and that your little ones will shed faster, more often than your older snakes, and it's very normal to do. Some things you can do if you find they're having trouble. So guys, you take care of yourself, your family, your friends, your snakes, and all your animals. Ciao.